Hello everybody. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to hop on here. I'm Melissa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials, and tonight we're going to talk about knowing thyself and planning. I'm going to give everybody a minute. I just want to give a heads up for those of you who are watching on Facebook and on Instagram. I promise it doesn't say WTF. It says TFW for thinking, feeling, willing. It's just that when it's live, everything is mirrored. So, but when you catch us on the replay on YouTube, you'll see it the correct way. So it actually says that. So I'm going to give everybody just a second or so. We are a little bit after 6, so grab some tea, but also I'm going to suggest you have pen and paper in hand because we're going to go fast and we're going to talk concepts, and I want you to be able to take notes. And yeah. All right, got all my notes here. And in this little stack over here, I have new Planning for Peace journals. Brand new ones. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. So we did a live video last November in our Ask Melissa and Eric group called Know Thyself. It was gangbusters. Lots of people loved it. It has a lot of reviews, a lot of views on Facebook, a lot of views on YouTube. It's a good, hard video. This is why it's hard. It's hard to take radical responsibility for ourselves, and it's hard to look at ourselves. It doesn't have to be hard, but we make it hard because, that's just sort of the humans that we are. So as we go through this tonight, I want you to know that there's going to be some things that I'm going to say that you're going to be like, oh, she just kicked me in the gut. But when we move forward, as far as being the parent that we want to be, showing up the way we want to show up, and really being that person that we sort of subscribe to, that we say we are, that, and those, when we introduce ourselves in a group, I'm this mom. When we go that way, we want to be that mom that we believe that we are, that we want to be. And so all the things we're going to talk about tonight will sort of help with that. It will help if you have a 2-year-old, and it will help if you're homeschooling, kids in the grades. So I just wanted to make sure that 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 everything that I'm saying tonight comes in love, comes from a place. I've been there. I absolutely don't teach anything that I haven't done myself. So when it comes to sort of knowing myself, it's been a dang hard journey. And it's never done. I'm always learning things about myself. We were just talking, Eric and I, we launched and our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program, and we did something crazy. Like on Monday, when we launched on Wednesday, on Monday, I rebuilt the Thinking, Feeling, Willing website. Like on Monday, between Monday and the end of Tuesday. And so my temperament, choleric, I thrive on being able to get things done like that. Where it's struggle is then being able to come back down from that and be back into a balanced place. And there were times in my life where I was like that place all the time. And then I had a stroke 5 years ago, and it really forced me to go, oh, wait a minute. I really have to work with my temperament, not against it. And I have to really understand how to sort of come back from that space, because you want to be in that space no matter what temperament you are. You want to be able to be there's these socks that I saw at the store, and they say, bossy bitches get stuff done. Sorry for the swear. But you want to be able to be that person if you need to be. But then be able to back off from that. And often, when we end up in management mom place, no matter what temperament you are, it's really hard to sort of pull back the reins on ourselves and take a deep breath. I had the opportunity to take a nap yesterday, and my brain raced the whole time. I slept, but my brain didn't get the sleep that it needed. And so, we really have to work to kind of come back from those places. And we'll talk about that a little bit. And if I forget, please shout at me. This is not I'm the only one talking. Please feel free to leave comments. Please feel free to ask questions. Even challenge me if you want. I'm okay with that. I'm a big girl. I can handle it. I'm going to drink my tea here in a minute. So let's see. Where shall we start? I love the phrase, know thyself. And our good buddy Socrates, as most of you know, anybody who's had an affinity for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure at any time in your life, you probably see his name, and even though you know it's Socrates, you still say Socrates in your head because, Socrates was a cool dude on that show. So I love the idea that we need to know ourselves because it really is a lifelong pursuit. And for many people, when they start to really think about themselves, at first they get really kind of, self-deprecating, like they don't like themselves. They see all of their flaws. And it takes a while to, in some people more than others, and I think temperament plays a big part of this, it takes a while to then come to the place of, oh, I actually really like myself. And all of that's a journey. It's a journey of, we had these ideals when we started out in our parenting, and we had ideas on how we wanted to be. And, it's not all like sunshine and roses. I was talking to a friend today, and I said, when you ask anybody who's got like children under 4, they're thinking parenthood's pretty easy. I mean, yeah, you get kids that tantrum and things happen, but it's pretty easy. But there's just something that happens, like at 6, they start seeing the whole world, that 6-year change. And then you're like, who is this kid? What the heck have I done? My parenting is awful. They're such a brat. And you're hearing yourself saying these things in your head, but because you're attached to mom, you're like, I can't say those things. That's a horrible thing for me to think. And so then you start picking on yourself. Absolutely not horrible. Horrible if you say it. And even there, as long as you're like not saying it to the child, you're in good shape. I will say the best of us have blurted out something negative to our child. The best of us. I don't know many moms that, hold on a second. My husband loves to keep his volume up. And I'm using his phone too. There we go. Turned off. Excuse me. Even the best of us have days where we slip. And that's just part of being a human being. As part of being a human being and sorting out the spiritual part of us that like wants to have impact, and then the physical part of us that knows that we're here and we're kind of stuck in this place right now, and we have to slog through, and so it's about finding that sweet spot between knowing that you're a spiritual being on a human journey and realizing that as a spiritual being on a human journey, you have choices. And the choices part is a place that a lot of people like to back away from because they want to go, oh, well, he did this to me, she did this to me, I'm a victim of my circumstance, the sky isn't blue enough today, whatever it might be. And we as a culture, as a society, really are very much into like blame. And it just happens. It just happens. Even the best of us, I'm pretty self-actualized. I'm in a space of being spiritual, like on a spiritual plane 90% of my days. But I still say things like, well, it's her fault. And I'm like, oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Those actions that person did or didn't do may or may not have affected me, but I get to choose how I feel about those actions. I get to choose how I act. I get to choose where I go from here. And so much of our parenting journey, and definitely our homeschool journey, has to do with how we choose and what we say and how we choose to think of ourselves and how we choose to think of the journey and all of those pieces that have to come into place before we sit down with the blood crayons. If we can't come to that place, then we are really going to struggle with the long piece. Waldorf is on the outside very beautiful. On the inside, it's beautiful too. But it's sort of like understanding the way you have to chip away at that beautiful statue in order to have the end result. And that doesn't come from just learning how to sculpt. It comes from chipping away at yourself It comes from spending time in meditation, spending time really understanding your child, spending time really understanding yourself. It is such a long process, but it's such a beautiful process. So I'm going to catch a comment here. Charity says, this has been the exact topic of focus for myself for the last few days as I hear up to start. I'm assuming that says gear up to start. Love autocorrect. I think that we are, it's very easy, especially if we're somebody who believes that we, hey, we meditate, hey, we pray, hey, we're in this space, we're really good to our kids. But then comes the first challenge and we realize that our blocks hide. They hide and our fears hide and they come out when we're not ready. And then we're triggered and we have a tantrum and go, oh, this doesn't work for us. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. Or can't believe that happened to me. All of those things that gets momentum. Momentum is one of my favorite words because when you get momentum going in the good way, it's amazing. And I love Esther Hicks, who I listen to often. She makes the comment that, for any of you who have been to San Francisco, there's a street called Lombard Street. And at the top, it's like really zigzaggy, right? But it's super steep. There's streets in California, some of them are really, really steep. And if you're at the top of that street and you sort of put the car in neutral and push it over the edge, well, then it's got all this momentum as it comes crashing down and you can't stop it. You can't, but if you nudge it the other direction, then it doesn't ever get that momentum of getting started. So you have to be really careful about what gets your momentum. Are you going to allow the fact that somebody cut you off in traffic to start momentum? Are you going to allow the fact that somebody wronged you, even if it was a family member? And I've totally been there. It's all about what you're giving that energy to. And it's all around us. And guess what? Your kids pick up on every single bit of it. And if you have kids that are on the spectrum, kids that have any special needs, it's like it's magnified to them. So we have a bigger responsibility to check ourselves. I love the old saying it seems like it was from the 80s or the 90s, the check yourself before you wreck yourself saying. I don't know how many times somebody said that to me. Melissa, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Oh, yes, sorry. And I have found myself saying that to my children because when you stop, because that's just an invitation to go, okay, I'm gonna stop. In our house, we do this thing, and it wasn't mine. It was something that a therapist said to us a long time ago. We were, our kids went through, my big kids went through a really nasty divorce with my ex-husband. And I say they went through it too because it was pretty nasty and they went through it too. And so we were in therapy for a long time. And I remember as she's coaching us through some behavioral pieces, she said, I love the 3-second rewind. And it like the choleric in me is like, hell no, nobody's getting a 3-second rewind. You said it, you got to own it. But as a mother, as a parent, as we're teaching them and they're learning, we have to be in a place where we can instill like the 3-second rewind. So all my kids know that they can, now that doesn't mean that they can see something nasty and go, 3-second rewind. But it does mean that if they tripped up, if they said something they didn't mean to, and truly didn't mean to, or acted in a way that was not okay, I give them the opportunity to fix it before I go guns blazing, which is not a choleric trait. It's a trait that I've had to learn. It's a trait that I've had to really work to chip away at myself, at how I was raised, and I love my mother. It has nothing to do with her. The places that we were in my childhood, and who my birth father was. So I had to really work to chip away at that. So we have to sort of look at what our triggers are, and they will be different for every temperament. And even though we talk about temperament a lot, I can give you like basic generalizations. But at the core of it, it's like temperament sits here. I got notes in my hand. Temperament sits here. Childhood sits on top of it. And then we sort of like blossom into this adult. And we've got both of those things wrestling at each other sometimes. So sometimes it's a matter of getting our temperament under control, and hey, we feel really good about that, but then somebody comes in and does something that takes us back to when we were 6 years old, and it made us feel really unsafe and sad, and or mad or angry or afraid, and then whatever balance we were at gets totally like off kilter. So it is a matter of us continually doing that. The best ways to do that are to have a daily practice. Excuse me. And it doesn't have to be a long daily practice. We have this great business coach, and it's funny because whenever people say to him, you know, I don't have 10 minutes to meditate, and he's just like, well, then you need to meditate for 20. And he's so right. At first, I wanted to argue with everything. Listen, I'm a really good student when I really want to learn something. And so we were like sitting at his feet, and he's helping us with some stuff. But I'm arguing with him, like, why would I do that? And why would I, and this sounds, and he's like, do you want where you're going? Like, you tell me where you're going. You have to listen to me. So I'm doing the same thing. I get it. Because when he said that to me, I was like, oh, I know this, because I say this to my people all the time. If you want what you say you want, you have to listen to me. You have to find a way. You have to be find a way, make a way moms and dads. But you can't just decide, I'm not going to do it because, well, you can, but you know, the cleric in me is like, then don't complain about it because I gave you the tools. Now, of course, I've built up my empathy, and I'll say, I'm really sorry that that's a struggle for you right now. What can I do as a coach to help you with that next space? So I was talking to another mom today, and her husband is phlegmatic, and she's really struggling, and she's choleric, and I know that dynamic well because that's what we have going on here. And I learned to not struggle because, well, one, Eric and I, this is my second marriage. It's his first marriage, but my second marriage, I don't plan to do it a third time. I love him to pieces. And any of you that know us or see us on Instagram or see us, you know that we are highly in love. And we've been married almost 14 years, and like we do just about everything together. We have a good time. And we do everything together because we enjoy it. And I am just as happy to go to a Marvel movie with him, which I'm actually really liking the Marvel universe right now, so that's not a chore. But I'm just as happy to sit through something with him as he is to come to sit in the yarn store with me. And so that's because we've worked that into our marriage, that we've worked that into sort of who we are and how we show up. And the reason why we do that is because we want our kids to see us showing up as good humans, as humans that like each other. Because guess what? You are, what soup you have going in your house is going to determine what they do when they leave. So if you have a lot of fighting going on, you and your partner calling each other names, you can't agree on anything, you don't ever hug and kiss and hold hands, all those things, guess what? They're going to take that when they leave your house. And I know it. I lived it. I lived it with my first marriage, and every piece of that came from some place that I thought it was okay because of my childhood. Now, like my mom, like I said, my mom's a wonderful human being. I love her to pieces, but she was in a bad marriage, and she got out of that bad marriage. And I still had 9 years of programming from that bad marriage that I had to then sort through. So I became an adult, and I relived my parents' bad marriage in my first marriage. It wasn't until I was like, wait a minute, I have to break these boundaries. I have to break this chain and break these blocks that I could consciously walk forward. So the first step is like being conscious of it, being conscious of the fact that how you want to show up, what your triggers are, and how that's affecting everybody around you. So if you're having a tantrum, which moms have tantrums, I've seen lots of them. I've had a few myself, but nothing is sadder, that's not a good word. Nothing brings out my compassion more, I should say, than a mom that I can see is like having a tantrum and melting down. And usually it looks differently for a mom, but not too much differently. If you've seen an adult tantrum, you should compare it to your 6-year-old's tantrum sometimes. They look surprisingly similar, but they're coming about, in different ways. Different temperaments have tantrums in different ways. And So sort of like taking that space where, from my first marriage and all of that, I had to own it. And so one of the things that I teach my students, all of our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members, is radical responsibility. You're never going to get anywhere on your Waldorf homeschooling path or anywhere else, because I tell you, it's really funny. People come to me and they go, lady, just give me the information. I go, all right, but you give me back. Always come back. Always. I don't understand why I can't make this work. You gave me the information, something's not working. I go, well, you want to listen to the rest of it now? Because if you don't work on yourself, you're not going to get anywhere. Well, you might feel like it at first, especially if you're a choleric and you're thinking, I'm just going to dive head in and it's going to be great and it's going to be awesome and I'm going to process it to death, because that's what we do as cholerics. I know, I am one. I understand. Checklists and everything, you're going to just plan it all out and it's just going to be great. But if you don't do the feeling part of it, you're going to be doing this with your kids constantly, because you have it one set way and you're not thinking about anybody else. That's something that often happens. And my temperament's not the only one that does that. I think anybody who's unbalanced will be able to say, yeah, I don't think about anybody else. It's all about me. It's all about me. And when it's all about you, then you sort of lose sight about, about what you're doing and what you're doing there for your kids and how you're showing up. Excuse me. So that first piece is sort of radical responsibility. So if you had a tantrum lately, you should step back and go, what was that tantrum all about? Because I guarantee you, if you had a tantrum in response to something your child did, it has nothing to do with your kid. Nothing. It's all in here. It's all inside. And so we have to really examine what are those blocks and where did they come from. We don't have to sort of wallow in them, but we absolutely have to go, okay, this is where this comes from. I get to be a grown-up and I don't have to have it affect me anymore. So, and that works really good for most people. Most people, once they see it, they can acknowledge it as a trigger. And then what I generally have people do is go, all right, take your last tantrums as you, mom, because I have you do the same thing with your kids, and go 10 minutes before that tantrum. What was going on, and what was going on in your body? Because before we lose it, and by tantrum I mean anytime you wanted to shout the F word at somebody, especially your child, or you did shout it, or you just have this upwelling of emotion, or sometimes you're not having an outward tantrum, but you're inside, you've got anxiety like crazy, you're falling apart, all of those things. I want you to think about, before that started, before that big piece went all crazy, I want you to really think about what was going on inside your gut. Because there are physiological changes that happen within our body when we allow emotion to take over. And so when we can get a hold of and harness those physiological changes, then we can start to see the triggers, back away from them. But it takes you being conscious, and it takes you being able to pay attention and really know yourself, and know because we can't always get out of it, but most of us don't tantrum when it's a crisis moment. Most of us tantrum as the crisis is coming away, or there's somebody else that'll take on the crisis. That's usually what happens. Most of us will get through a crisis and not fall apart until after. So you want to really understand, what were those triggers. Once you can understand those triggers, then you can step back a little bit and go, okay, I know that I need to make sure I eat every 2 hours. Or I know that going to this particular store is going to set my child off, and my child being set off is going to set me off, so I need to not go there. Or I know that if I haven't planned my school day properly, my child is going to, not trust me. And then I'm going to have a battle of wills with them. And in having that battle of wills, I'm going to end up losing, because I'm going to lose my stack, lose my crap, and yell and scream. And in the end, we're both going to be crying. So you want to look at those times when you've really felt like falling apart and ask yourself, what was going on? And it's usually about 10 minutes before you actually fell apart, is that there's your cue. So when you get really good at it, you can go, okay, I could see 30 minutes before what happened, and sort of see the balance there. What I want you to do is, as you're sort of figuring that piece out, I want you to keep a journal, keep track of it, and know, like, okay, this is where I don't do well. For me personally, I don't do well making decisions when I'm tired. So and Eric knows that, and anytime he and I have a disagreement, it's because one of us is tired. It's usually me. What you have to be able to do then is say, I can't make a decision right now. I'm too tired. I will make a decision on this tomorrow. And now there are times when I have to just push through. So when that's the case, if I have to push through on something, then I will stop. I will take 5 minutes to meditate and get myself together. Like 5 minutes, like complete deprivation of sensory, with the exception of if I'm listening to something guided, which I have a bunch of, like, there's great, if you if you go on YouTube and do short guided meditation, there's lots of them. So you can get yourself in a good space to then move forward. And that's what I do. If I have to perform when I'm exhausted, that's what I do. So you have to find something that works for you, and something that really helps bolster you up when you are feeling like, I cannot wait for bedtime to get here. There have been many, many, many years when I have been like, okay, it's 3 o'clock. 4 more hours, I can do it. So, you might have to do that. I promote this often. Go in the bathroom. These are the words. Don't knock on the door unless you're bleeding. I need 5 minutes. Shut the door. Obviously this is a child that's older than 2. Step in the bathroom, take a deep breath, hide chocolate in the bathroom. I don't hide chocolate anymore because my kids are all onto me. But hide chocolate in the bathroom if you can. And you can hide the chocolate in the tampon box. Nobody would ever look there. Hide chocolate, eat a piece of chocolate, not the whole bag, just a piece. Breathe deep, get yourself centered, make a plan. Make a plan before you open the door. The plan is, okay, it's 3 o'clock. We're going to go to the park, or we're going to get out of the house, or I'm going to bundle everybody up and they're going to go out and play in the snow for an hour, and I'm going to start making dinner. Make a plan. Do not be afraid to stop whatever it is that you're in the middle of. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you were in the middle of school and things fell apart, if you were, in the middle of somebody practicing or doing some sort of lessons, doesn't matter. Preserve the relationship. At all costs, when you can, preserve the relationship. Okay, I'm going to grab some comments here. Let's see. Caitlin says, I love Abraham's teachings. Me too. I love lots of spiritual stuff. So what I love is that I've gotten myself to a place where I can listen to something, and even if it's not 100% in line with what I listen to, I can pull the truth out and go, well, thank you for those tidbits of truth, and I can let the rest go. Let's see. Mimi says, oh, this video is fitting in for my past week. So glad, Mimi. Let's see. Bree says, it can be toxic to a group if it's completely unbalanced. Yes, we should talk about that really quick. I think that group settings, and a lot of us find ourselves in group settings because maybe we have a homeschool co-op, or just even a play group. If you're in a group setting, then you have other women that are hormonal like you, and they may not be balanced, and you have to sort of like play with that. So we're going to talk about that here in a second too. And then we're going to talk about planning and how this all folds into that. So Brie also says, melancholics tend to turn to inwardly tantrum. Agreed. And get very self-deprecating, like, I suck, this is horrible, I'm not worth this, I'm ruining my children, all the things, all the main things you can say to yourself. Let's see. Or making decisions. She also says, making decisions when I'm already overwhelmed by other concerns at the moment. Yes. So overwhelm will do it too. So let's talk about different temperaments really quick. I want to grab the rest of these. I wish I could just will myself to stop what I'm doing for 5 minutes and go meditate. You can will yourself, honey. Here's what I'm going to challenge you. Make it a time in your day so that way you are, okay, it's 7 o'clock or whatever, and you go do it. And you do it once and then twice, and then you'll be like, holy crap, I didn't meditate today. We meditate about 3 times a day when we can, once longer. And a lot of you saw our Instagram post weeks ago. If not, go look at it, where I talk about, even Soraya meditates. She's going to be 8 on Monday, and all of my children have been taught to meditate, all of them, because you do them a disservice if you don't teach them how to be quiet. And I'm not talking about from the, because I'll get people to yell at me, but kids can't be quiet. Kids can be taught. I'm not talking about telling them to be quiet or keeping them silent. I'm not talking about anything like that. What I'm talking about is teaching them to go within. We live in a culture that thinks that every turkey sandwich they made needs to be on Twitter or on Instagram or something. And we want them, especially when we're doing Waldorf, we have so many different values, right? So we're wanting them to sort of come back to this space. But if we don't teach them, guess what? They'll have to learn when they're an adult, and it's so much harder to learn when you're an adult. It's so much easier to learn when you're a child. So let's see. So will yourself to stop. That's my challenge to you. She says, let's see. I could see how that would be so powerful. Like I'm like the Energizer Bunny and have a really hard time just stopping. I need I need help slowing down and just what you say here. Yeah. So if that's your struggle, we're going to talk about temperaments here in just a second. So hopefully what we're going to say there will help. Bree says, once I pulled so hard that I pulled the door frame. Wow. To be fair, I was just told my dad had to open the door. Oh man. Okay, let's see. Charity says, I find it super true for me in regards to tantrum throwing when there's someone else to handle the situation. Since my husband started working away from home for weeks at a time, I have learned, hold on, where did it go? I have learned this about myself. I have also learned that I am super strong and capable. Yes, you are. Hence, after 2 years, I'm finally making time to implement thinking, feeling, willing. I'm so glad. Oh, Charity says she meditates before the kids wake up. Best ever. I agree. I'm a huge proponent of getting up before your kids. Lennon says, I love the app Insight Timer for meditation. It tracks my meditations, which seems to really help me remember to do it and how to make it a daily habit. I agree. We set alarms on our phones and super helpful. Let's see. There's some over here. So glad you guys are so active. Let's see. Red Hawk Healing says Abraham Rampage of Appreciation, 5 minutes, and is so incredible. Ooh, I'll have to look that one up. I don't know that one. And let's see. It's Me, Monica says, I can't handle doing step 3 if step 2 isn't done. I get so overwhelmed, I just shut down. Not a great example I'm setting. Well, I think that, again, it goes back to temperament. So those of you who are thinking, feeling, willing members, you know, because we talk about temperament a lot, there's a lot of videos in our extra trainings, and we are working on, so we've already done the choleric, the sanguine, and the phlegmatic in our Monday morning videos, just this last month. This Monday is going to be a recorded video because it's Soraya's birthday, and I want her to wake up snuggled with me. But we will be doing, on the 29th, we'll be doing the melancholy. So we will definitely be covering that. And then I think what I might do the first week in May is do sort of a roundup, because there are so many, like, we can focus on the temperament, on one temperament, but there's so many like interweaving things. So, okay. Quickly, temperament. So I'm just going to skim over today. If you're listening, you're going, I don't know what you're talking about. Go back and listen to those audios. They are from our Monday videos for the last few weeks. Temperament is so important with regards to the way we plan. So the choleric generally wants to be all done so that she doesn't have to think about anything else. This is totally me. I want to mark it off my list so I can call it done and I can focus on something else. I am a pretty good multitasker because I have enough sanguine in me. But what happens is the sanguine will take over and it will look like ADD if I'm not careful. So you want to be careful if you are somebody who's sanguine. You want to be careful with how you're managing your time, because you very much are like, I gotta have 6 projects going, and I feel really good when I have 6 projects going, and you might do really well spinning each one of those 6 plates. But the minute somebody hands you plate number 7, all 6 come crashing down. So you want to be really careful with how you manage your energy. I've also seen sanguines have some really interesting like tantrums and drama triangles going. So usually when we look at temperament, often we're thinking about, oh, the drama people are the melancholies who are so sad all the time. Not true, not true. I have seen tantruming and drama come from the sanguine that is so out of balance that she can't slow herself down. So then she drank, it's kind of like she's stirring it. She's got this big cauldron of people, this big, big spoon, and she's stirring it, like stirring. And what happens is all those people put it in her cauldron. And I'm going to say it because I don't want anybody to send me any hate mail. I used to be a witch, so I am okay to use this analogy. I'm not using it derogatory, not using it derogatory at all. I'm okay to use this analogy. So she's got this big bowl with all these people, and she has stirred them all up, and some of them are mad at her, and some of them love her, but they can't figure out why they're mad at her. And she just says, okay, well, I'm just gonna take my ball and go home because y'all are boring now. you just made me mad, so I'm just gonna go. And so if that is you, and you see this drama stuff happening in your life, you have to stop and you have to go, okay, wait a minute. Maybe it's not everybody else. Maybe I have to look at myself. And it's okay to look at yourself. That's the best thing to do, is to look at yourself. You know, for many, many years, I was not a fan of eating crow at all. Like just being humble was just not what I liked. And I still don't love it. I'm still not like, yes, please tell me I'm wrong. But there's so much healing that comes from being able to see your own mistakes and being able to see where you messed up and being able to go to somebody in sincerity and say, I'm really sorry I hurt your feelings. I'm really sorry I screwed this up. I'm really sorry I crashed your car. I'm really sorry, whatever it is, so that you can, in turn, like if you expect it from other people, you've got to give it. And you can't ever sort of expect something that you're not willing to give yourself. So you want to be able to look at your temperament. So that was the sanguine. The sanguines have amazing ability to plan. Amazing ability to plan. They plan it out. It's all pretty. They're great wedding planners, event planners, really good at that. Really good at homeschool planning, but they suck at follow through. What's great about the wedding planner or the event planner is they get to be done at the event. They don't have to, finish. They don't have to be, they're not the event. They're just getting the event together. But at homeschooling, like when you're homeschooling, you have to finish. It's more than about just planning it. You actually have to do what you planned. And so if you are really struggling, then you've got to find ways to really control your will. Now, I will say, for sure, there are plenty of people, especially in our culture right now, that have ADHD and ADD and all those soup things going on. There's a bug in here. Y'all, go away. So with that, you need to do things to help your body be able to combat it. I am absolutely about owning your stuff and being able to say, hey, well, I have this going on. Don't let that be your excuse. Because when we make something an excuse, then often what happens when we're the excuse maker, we don't like it when other people make excuses. So being able to be radically responsible for yourself, if you were somebody who maybe has a hard time with that, you might go, there are thousands of supplements on the market. I'm going to pick one to try and see if that helps me have more focus. And if that one doesn't work, then you go, okay, well, I tried that one. It didn't work. I'm going to go try another one. Like Whole Foods is full of Supplements to help with focus. There's a lot of them. Pick one and just get started. Be regular about it. Be regular about doing the things that you know you need to do to refine yourself. You're never done. You're never done. You're always continuing to go. And it's not like oh, well, I rode a bike once, so I'm just, now I don't need to do it ever again. It's not like that. You want to keep going. It's a thing. It's a thing. You don't just do it once. If you are phlegmatic, the last thing you want to do is plan. You're like, I'm just going to just roll with it and it'll all be okay. But what often happens is phlegmatic moms have choleric children. It doesn't go very well. So when you are a parent and you have these beautiful humans that you are responsible for, you have to decide and you made the decision to homeschool, because guess what? This is optional. You could send them to the school down the street and, your in-laws and everybody would probably be just fine with that. You won't be able to sleep with yourself. But if you've chosen to be at home with them, you have to step up. You have to show up. You have to be able to do it. So we're going to talk about planning for peace in a minute, because we made it so that it's easy. Easy. No, easy wasn't the right word. Simple. Simple. It's not easy, but it's definitely simple. And we take you through every step. The phlegmatic mom really needs that. So if you are phlegmatic and you're struggling, I would say, especially for one of my clients, all you have to do is send me a message that says, please kick my butt. I will do it. I will do it. I won't even have to ask you about what the heck's been going on. I will just say, get your fanny up and get moving now. Because sometimes you need that. If you are melancholy and you're like really struggling getting started, it's usually because you are afraid you're going to do it wrong. And when you're in that spot of being caught up about being afraid you're going to do it wrong, then you don't really want to start, because if you start, then it might crash and burn, and then you might ruin them. And then it's this whole again, back on beating yourself up. The phlegmatic, back to that for a minute, it's very easy, and Bree said that on here, to get overwhelmed. The phlegmatic needs laid out steps and not to be rushed. So if you are a phlegmatic mom, you best get started with your planning today, like with us, because you need to for next year. I had a mom message me the other day, and she was like, I really want to buy Thinking, Feeling, Willing, but I think I'm going to wait until you open the doors again in August. I said, don't do that. What are your dreams right now? Well, I want to do this with my kids, and I really want to bring Waldorf to my kids. I said, then don't wait. If you wait till August, you are going to really struggle. You don't want to wait till August. You want to start now. And tonight is the first night we're starting. So let's see. I got through all the temperaments. Does anybody have any questions so far about temperaments? I love the comments here. Somebody over here says, Lotus Little Life says, I'm the phlegmatic mom. And she says, but she's got the choleric kid. So remember, cholerics need you to be choleric when you're in your planning. You don't have to yell like people, when I say, what's a choleric like to you? Oh, well, they yell a lot. Well, we don't yell that much. We are excited about life, and we might be more, seem like we're out there more, and we're leading, and we're telling you how to do it. And yeah, we might be bossy. We're not yelling. I yell. I have yelled. I don't yell so much anymore. This is not yelling. I used to tell my teenage daughter when she was still living at home, she's like, stop yelling at me. I'm like, oh, honey, this is not yelling. I can yell if you'd like. No, just don't talk to me. She's melancholic. So you want to be really careful about how you talk to your kids. We have a great free download on the resources section at waldorfessentials.com called Temperament Parenting. So if this is new to you or you want a refresher, that's a good place to start. For our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members, it is Mom Lesson 4. Hop in there and, make temperament a lifelong pursuit of yours. I'd love for everybody to be in a place where you go, oh, that's my temperament talking. Actually, I can do it this way, kind of thing, or really figuring out or sorting out sort of where you're coming from. So then it's so beautiful when you can see it in other people. And I do have moms that say to me, I can see everybody else's temperament, but I can't see mine. I go, yes, because you don't want to. So you got to remove that block. When you say, I embrace me, I embrace the spirit that incarnated into this body. I embrace me. then you'll start being okay with your temperament, because all of them have good and bad. That's why there's balance. There's why there's balance, for sure. Oh, and I was going to say, talking about tantrums in adults, a choleric will have a tantrum and just completely blow their stack and just yell and scream. That's what their tantrums look like. Some cholerics, if they're a little more prone to violence, they might beat something up or, take a bat to a car or whatever. A phlegmatic they kind of have this this crashing down, and I've seen my husband be very mad. It's not often, because it sort of takes all this will to build up to be mad. He's usually a very, very calm human being. So when they have a tantrum, often it's internal as well, like what Bree was saying for the melancholy. It's more internal, about beating themselves up. Oh, I should have done this better. Oh, I should have done that better. Oh, this was bad. And oh, I shouldn't even start this, because if I started, it's just going to suck. And usually it's not about, where the melancholy is worried about starting something because they're worried they're going to harm something else. The phlegmatic is more perfectionist driven. It's more about themselves, and I don't want to start because if I start, it's not going to be perfect. And so we have a saying again from our business coach. He's like, done is better than perfect. And I absolutely believe that done is better than perfect, especially when it comes to so much of our parenting. So done is better than perfect. Let's see what we've got over here. Comments. Red Hawk Healing says, this is helpful. Thank you. Last year I started planning in August. This year I will plan next year's this month. Good. We're going to get started. I hope if you're not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, you need to come on over and join us and we're going to talk about planning for peace tonight. So let's see. Bree says, if you show up for your kids, they will learn to show up. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Agreed. Like this, Charity talks about, she's got hypothyroid, and she talks about doing some vitamin B shots. Somebody needs to send me some information about that. I think I need that. I do, seriously. Charity says, I have so many questions about temperament. I can help you with that, dear. I know about the 16 personality types, but this was the first time I'd ever heard of temperaments 2 years ago when I bought Thinking, Feeling, Willing. Yeah, and I talked the other day in our video, I wasn't not sure if you were there, Charity. I really believe that, like personality types, I agree with those. Like we had to do that for our business course that we were taking. He was like, I don't want to hear about your temperaments. I said, oh, really? Temperament, I think this is the temperament gospel according to Melissa. Temperament belongs to your soul. Personality types belong to your body, like your human piece. So the two have to interact, and it's very interesting. Most people are really shocked when I tell them that on the Myers-Briggs, I actually am an introvert because of how I have to recharge. Some people are really recharged up by being with people. I am usually exhausted being with people. And a lot of it is because of how I choose to show up, but then also it takes me time to recharge. Let's see. It's me, Monica says, I saw a comparison of temperaments in Winnie the Pooh once that stuck. I'm Rabbit and my kids are Tigger and Eeyore. Oh man, the Tigger mom. Soraya was Tigger today. Oh my goodness. Went to buy a bathing suit and some shoes. It took longer at the mall than I thought I was going to. Let's see. Yeah, Charity says people drain me. I think that I think that a lot of people don't expect a choleric to be to feel drained, but I do. So let's see. I said choleric tantrum, phlegmatic tantrum. Phlegmatic tantrum might also, because they get overwhelmed really easily, and they're having this internal tantrum, but they might have word vomit. They might have word vomit if they get overwhelmed, because they'd be like, ah! And that's because they're like, I'm done, I can't do it anymore. Too much in my brain, can't do it. That might be like the phlegmatic tantrum. The melancholy tantrum, it is crying, and there's crying that happens with others too, but it's a different crying. So a lot of moms think that they're melancholy or think that they're choleric because they yell. But I truly believe that there's no melancholy choleric. There's not. Again, that's the temperament gospel according to Melissa. years of study. And I know that I've even read people that say there's this combination, but it comes from a different place. When you are melancholy, you are yelling. Your anger comes from a sadder place. It comes from a place of, you did this to me. It comes from a passive aggressive place. When a cleric's pissed, they're just pissed. They're done. We're done, we're over it, we're moving on. And the melancholy is like, but you made me sad 2 months ago and I'm still not over it. So you will have a much harder time sort of getting over those blocks, but you don't have to. I mean, you can see them, know what they are, go, okay, that person hurt me, but I don't have to be part of that. I can walk forward. And it might be a continual piece of you going, okay, that doesn't have to be part of me, because we do have to sort of rewire our brains. And we talked about this a lot recently in Thinking, Feeling, Willing. We're going to be talking about it even more within our own training there. But we do have this, 95% of our life is sort of governed by our subconscious mind. So, and that's so that we don't have to think about whether or not we're walking. We don't have to think about all of these other things going on. So our brain likes to protect us. And in doing that, there are systems that get put in place. Like, the first time you drove a car, you had to think about turning it on, looking at the mirrors, all of that. And you still should do that. But you were very methodical about it until it became part of the process, right? Like till it became easy. Same with brushing your teeth every day. Like all of us that are continually reminding the 9-year-old, did you brush your teeth today? Did you brush your teeth today? So you had to do that for, 15 years or so before they're like, yes, I brush my dang teeth. But they have to get it in there. The first 7-ish years before the veil is totally closed, that's when they're building all of those subconscious patterns happen then. So when there's trauma and there's, fighting amongst parents, and there's people who are talking about how there's nothing good in the world, and there's people that are talking about being sick and broke all the time, all of those things, that becomes your default, because that period of time, that before 6 time, is when so much of that subconscious programming starts. And then it just follows you through life. And so when we're adults and we're trying to break those habits, it can be harder, especially if, we have a habit of saying to ourselves, I'm just not very good at things. I can't do this. If you find yourself saying that, and it's about something that you should be able to do, or that you should put forth the effort to do, you have to step back and go, where did that come from? Where in my life did I figure out that it wasn't safe to excel at things? Because it came from your childhood. It came from someplace somebody told you it wasn't okay. Or somebody continually told you, you're not good at that. No, you can't. How many of you had a bad art teacher in school who said, I remember my art teacher in, I think it was 8th grade. And I remember him saying to me, Melissa, what is it that you want to do for a living? And I was in 8th grade. So I was 14 years old. I said, I want to be a lawyer, because I did. I had it all planned out. I want to be a lawyer. He said, good, because you certainly shouldn't go to art school. I was like, oh, all right. So that stuck with me. I hung on to that. That became and then when I came to Waldorf, I was like, wait a minute. I had this other opportunity to actually play with art and not feel like somebody's mean to me. So there's a lot of things sort of within this, this Waldorf spectrum that, while on the outside, it just looks like this beautiful education. But one of the things that parents often don't understand, especially when they're homeschooling, is that the teachers, when they go through teacher training, all this work that you're working on, they're supposed to be doing that too. So the best teachers are the teachers that, especially in a school setting, are the teachers that meditate for your children every day, that take that time to get centered. And I know there's lots of people that have horror stories about bad Waldorf schools, but I also have some beautiful stories about Waldorf schools, but teachers that really bring it. So if we are working to emulate that, that's what Thinking, Feeling, Willing works to teach you. Not just the pieces, not just how to draw and paint, not just, how to plan, but how to show up. And often we don't know how to show up, or we think we do. We think we've really studied it because, and I'm just going to throw out some examples that I've been through. because I studied birthing, and I was my background, I was pre-law for a while, and then but then my background as an adult was more of birthing and breastfeeding. I was a lactation consultant, and that's where I started working with coaching clients, was there. And then I went took some midwifery and did some midwifery stuff, and am a non-practicing midwife. And so, there were all of these pieces where, yes, I had to dig deeper. And especially, I remember in midwifery school, there were some classes that I had to take, and they were all about, like, how did I feel about not just my vagina, but just about me. And they were not, I was like, what does this have to do with, because I was in my bad marriage at the time. I remember thinking, what does this have to do with me helping somebody have a baby? Same way that some people say to me, what does this have to do with me teaching my kids math or teaching my kids fairy tales or all those? It has everything to do with it. Because as we break down those blocks and those, like, how we're feeling about ourselves, then we can get more. Then we can actually show up as the person that Spirit intended us to be. And that's really what most of us decided when we decided to homeschool, and we decided to, sort of be this different, weird parent that, I don't know if you guys have in-laws who think you're odd. My in-laws don't think I'm weird anymore, but they did. It's all right. That's all about them. It's not about me. When people are already doing different things, it's because you're choosing to show up differently. So then when you break through those blocks and you start to break through those barriers, guess what? Amazing things happen in your life. Not just with your parenting, not just with your partnering, but in general. Like, when you start to break through blocks like, I always have to be broke, or, I had one client that I worked with, and she was forever, like, I'd known her for a long time. She was forever remodeling her house. And I said to her, was there ever a time in your life where you lived in a house that was complete? And she just started to cry. She said, no. Like, even in my childhood, I never lived in a house that was complete. In my childhood, there was always something being remodeled, and it was never finished. It never had a finished product. And so that was her life, like, as a child. So it was normal for her then, when she married and she wanted to remodel her house, and they couldn't all get done at once because that cost more money than what they had. It was normal for her to feel like that. It was normal for her to be in that space. So she didn't question it. But then as it's coming up and we're talking, and she's saying things like, it's really starting to get on me. We've been remodeling for however many years, and it's really starting to get, like, piss me off. And we had to break away at, like, where does that come from? And she was so shocked that she realized that she had never lived in a house that had been complete, like, ever. Like, in her childhood, she said that the walls were not painted in her bedroom. So, for those of you who are working on home projects, you want to make sure you finish them. And, but in her case, breaking through that block, breaking through that barrier, helped her to realize, hey, we need a done date on this house. Done. And we need to be, and she had, like, phlegmatic going on and was really having a hard time getting started, but realizing that it was systematic, and what she was teaching to her children was then going to continue, made her realize that she needed to put her foot down some more and really work to get it done. And when we step back and we look at ourselves and we look at where those habits come from and what we're giving to our kids, then hopefully gives you enough momentum to keep going in the right way. Momentum is good if it's going in a good direction. So, all right, planning. Hopefully this has been good for you guys. It is an hour. I'm surprised Instagram has not cut me off. I'm gonna say they probably will. So if you're on Instagram and it cuts me off, I will start it again, or you can hop over to Facebook. So let's talk planning for peace. So those of you who have been with us for the last couple of years, you know that all I do is talk about planning for peace. Why? Well, because I promise if you do it my way, and you do exactly what I say, because again, this is about doing it, the way you're doing it's not working. So this is about really and truly Oh, it's gonna cut me off. I'm just letting you guys know. Be ready in Instagram. Really and truly getting yourselves into a place where you say, I submit. I am ready to do it your way. When you do it, it doesn't matter what your temperament is. I promise you it'll work. Promise you it'll work. But you have to do the work. You have to do the parts. You have to do the pieces. So our Planning for Peace program is part of Thinking, Feeling, Willing. So Instagram is finishing itself. Share. Hold on one second, everybody. Restart it. Go live. Okay. So Planning for Peace is part of Thinking, Feeling, Willing. It's also something you can buy ad hoc. Don't go to the one on our website right now because, like I said, we're in the midst of transitioning our website, and there is not a new page up. If you are interested in Planning for Peace and you're not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, drop me a PM or make sure you're on our mailing list. The way you would know that you're on our mailing list is I send out an email an hour before this video. So if you got that email, then you're on our email list. And as soon as the page is open and ready, then I will have it up there in an email. But if you're a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, it's already in Mom Lesson 6, ladies, the new one. So this is the Planning for Peace journal. I'm going to talk about a few things. There are 8 versions. Why? Because my sanguine kind of takes over sometimes. There are 8 versions, but they're large and small. So there's really only 4 versions, but they come in 2 sizes. Last year we had a kindergarten version, a mixed ages version, and a big kid version. The problem came is, oh no, wait. Charity says, I'm a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member. Does that mean I get Planning for Peace? Yep. Mom Lesson 6, baby. It's already there. The problem came where if we had a mom that had, say, 2 kids in the grades and 1 kid that was a kindergartner, she had to order too many things in order to get it right. So this is what we did this year. We still have our early childhood and kindergarten version. It's pretty. And I'm going to talk about the inside of it and why it's so important here in a minute. But it's pretty. It's updated. There are new things in here. This is really good. Let's see. Where's the other one? Then there is the mixed ages version. So this is where you guys are going to get excited, I hope. So the mixed ages has a kindergartner and a child in the grades. So here's the deal. I made it 2 pages per week. That was the number one. When I said to people, what is it that you want me to change? Oh, there's that bug again. They said 2 pages per week, please. So now there's 2 pages per week. So it is fatter than last year's. And the big kid one is definitely fatter. The big kid one went from 3 big kids under 1 cover to 2. But it is still big. So the grades only version has enough room for 2 children. The mixed ages version has enough room for a kindergartner and a child in the grades. And then here's this other thing that I did. This is the +1 journal. So this is a journal that's only for 1 child in the grades, but it is not a full Planning for Peace journal. It is only the planning pages. Only the planning pages. It is not the front end. You cannot do this work without the front end. So don't, if you're listening and you decide, and you're not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member and you want to just go buy the hard copy and just buy this because it's cheap and you only got 1 child, don't do it. It does not have the front end pieces. And the front end is all of this inner work stuff that we're talking about. So in the front of the Planning for Peace journal, it's broken up into 5 months and it starts in May. So it's May, June, July, August is the first 4 months, and September is the 5th month. So it's the 5th month happens after you start school year. So let me grab questions here. It's me. Monica says, what is the Facebook name that you're live on? I'm not getting notifications from it. Well, it's actually not on it's under Waldorf Essentials with Melissa Nielsen, Monica. So it's not in a group, but it's just on our regular feed. Okay, so Charity says, I will need more info on this. When I started, it wasn't a thing. So everybody that is a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member has access to the digital. If you did hard copies for life in the last month when we did it, then you'll also get it. If you just signed up this week, you'll also get it because you get hard copies. So month 1 goes through evaluating what is. So it takes everything we were talking about tonight and goes deeper. It's inner work, reflecting on your temperament, rhythm, identifying your goals, menu planning, and ordering your curriculum. So that's like what you have to do in May. And so this is like we go through every step. And what we'll do is we'll start probably, I'm not sure on the dates yet, but we'll start in the next few weeks and getting started on, and we'll have monthly, maybe twice a month, especially in the beginning, phone chats. So, if you are a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, I want you to hop on into Mom Lesson 6 and go ahead and sign up for the email list for that, because there'll be a separate email list for that. Bree says, do you have the front end part separately in a book? No, I don't. You could print that out and stick it in a binder. You could do that. Okay. I was already at eight versions, and I was like, oh, I can't do it anymore. Y'all know that it already took me too long to do this. So then each month we get together and we plan. So the first month is all about sort of what is. It's about ordering your curriculum. It's about checking in on your rhythm and doing your actual rhythm chart. There's all of that is month 1. Month 2, we understand the stages of childhood. We do evaluations on the year. So by month 2, we'll be into June. So you should be able to understand every place that you've been with children for the last year. Then we'll also do the full year planning, like lay it all out. And if you watched our video series recently, or you know how I do things, this is when I lay it all out. And you can fold pieces of paper if you don't want to use a journal, but you want a box for every month that you are planning. And I pull all the calendars in. I get on the phone with grandma and go, what months are you coming? I put everybody's birthday down. I put everything down that will detract from school, everything. Because I want to make sure that when I go deeper into the next planning phase, that I have a heads up on everything. Now, yeah, you're also going to have times when, when you are, there's spontaneity, for sure. But you want to make sure that you have it down. So like we live 2 blocks from the beach, and we love to go to the tide pools. So I have a tidal calendar, and in this part, I'll show you what the pages actually look like. I have the tidal calendar, and what I do is I go through and write down all the tides. So this is just the plain block, like outlines. So I will write in the margins what the tides are. I'll write everybody's birthdays, everything out, everything. Because then when you move on to the next step, which is looking at the blocks, then you go, all right, well, this month we're going to take a week's vacation. So I need to be careful how I'm working on this block. So it gives you the space to really be able to see your time. That's why, if you're struggling, that's why you don't know what's going on and why you're behind or why you feel behind. And behind is an illusion, but that's why you feel behind, is because you're not paying attention to your time. When your time is out on paper, and I know the phlegmatics don't like to write down their time, but you got to. You have to. Writing it all down and seeing it all in a big space allows you then to really move things around. It allows you to have a heads up on anything that's coming, whether it be with your kids, your partner, things that are vacations that are coming up, and it allows you to truly plan for what you have in front of you, not some airy-fairy thing that you think you have, because I guarantee you it's not that way. You have to be sure to write it all down. So we start with this, where it's all written down, and then we go to the blocks, and because you've done this part, then you can sort of plan out the blocks. So we have block plans in here. Any outside materials that you need, making a block book list. That was just added this year. Somebody recommended that one. And then reflecting. How did it go? if you really want to improve your teaching and bring lively lessons to your children and really rock this Waldorf homeschooling thing, you have to reflect. So there's reflection on every block and how you did. And you don't have to keep it in here. Like, because I share mine so often and take pictures, I usually don't write those notes in there. I probably should, because I know you guys would like to see that sometimes, but I often will write it in my bullet journal just because I'm reflecting in a more private space. So that is month 2. You also, let me find month 3. I should have tagged them beforehand. Sorry, guys. You also go through and plan out your festivals, at least the bare bones of your festivals in this month, so that you've got it all laid out. And where did month 3 go? Well, so then you go from, I'm just going to tell you off the top of my head, you go from that big block plan to then breaking it down by the weeks, what you're going to bring in each week of that block. Once you have that down, then you go to the daily and weekly plan. So I have the daily and weekly plan in sort of in one place for each child. Each child has their own. And I meant to bring it down here. But a lot of you have seen my Planning for Peace journal. Get out the washi tape. If you don't have any washi tape, go to Michael's, get yourself some washi tape, hop online, get yourself some washi tape. I usually color code each child, like every page, so that it's really easy for me to find who is who. And I color code things that are for family. And that way, everything's in one place. I can grab this and take it with me if I need to go plan somewhere. I can grab this and take it to the library, wherever I need to take it, and it's there. And everything is in one place. When I'm sick, I just hand it to Eric, and he can teach a lesson right out of there. So, Planning for Peace. Those of you who are Thinking, Feeling, Willing members, like I said, it's already in Mom Lesson 6. And because we're done, we were kind of backed up on some orders, because I know some of you have ordered and we hadn't had them out. We were wanting to wait till they were out. If you ordered the Big Kid copy, expect an email from us over the next couple of days, because I want to make sure that you get the right Big Kid copy. So since they used to be 3 big kids in one and now it's 2, I want to make sure that we have everything going for you. So that's these journals. We plan for peace all the time. Now I want to talk to you guys about Thinking, Feeling, Willing. So like I said, and I've been talking about it a lot, Thinking, Feeling, Willing is it's our flagship best-selling program. We have been doing Thinking, Feeling, Willing for 7 years, and it's grown a lot. Some of you have been with us since the beginning, and when I reflect on what we've done and how many different ways we put it together, and oh my goodness, it now is my favorite. And those of you who have been members for a long time, I know that I've gotten so many emails over the last 2 days. Oh my gosh, the new site's so pretty. It is very pretty. Excuse me. But what is Thinking, Feeling, Willing? So, we've sort of been talking about this, this idea of sort of radical responsibility, how we show up, and realizing that, it's 80% you and about 20% Waldorf. And as you sort of live through it and it comes together, you start to, that unconscious place, that subconscious place takes over, and you can make things happen without a whole lot of effort. And so I want you to, as I'm going through this, to just think about how nice it would be to have all of these things in one place. In Waldorf, we have so many different things that are specific to Waldorf. Whether it be the painting and the drawing, or the planning, or just the curriculum itself. It's definitely not this box comes and you open it up and there's everybody's curriculum, you stick it on the shelf and that's what you're pulling from. That's definitely not Waldorf. Waldorf is definitely more, it's less open and go, although we do have curriculum. Our curriculum is fairly open and go. You still have to plan. You still have to put your work into it. And so, it's very different. If you homeschooled another way and you came to Waldorf, it's going to be very different at first. But you shouldn't be afraid of that because the fruit of that is amazing. The fruit of that is beautiful. You feel good about lessons you're giving. They are excited to show up for the lessons you're giving. And that's really the secret, is sort of having your plan in place showing up the way you want to show up, like the human spirit realized self, and just being excited about life, and maybe not as vocal about it as I am, but just showing up in the space that you want to be. Guess what? They show up too. They show up and they meet you there. They meet you there, and it's so beautiful. I have been on both sides, and it's not fun to be on the other side. If I know I'm not showing up my best self for a day, I will say, all right, y'all, we're just going to the beach today. I don't have it in me. But if it's my best and I'm showing up as my best, they're right there with me. And they're pushing me almost, like, let's get this done. We're enjoying this. So, we take plenty of time off. We talked about that in our other video on Wednesday. We take plenty of time off. So if you missed that video, hop back over and watch that one. And if you can't find it, there's on our YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. It's not on Instagram anymore because that was on Wednesday. But you can hop over and watch it on YouTube or on Facebook. Okay, let's see. Going through my list here because I don't want to miss anything. So what is in Thinking, Feeling, Willing, and is it right for you? So Thinking, Feeling, Willing is a training, mentoring, and curriculum providing program, not service. Training as in we train you on rhythm, and all in rhythm is holding the space. We train you on understanding the Waldorf curriculum, and you will read Steiner. We train you on inner work and sort of unlocking that for yourself, and sort of getting going on that. Temperament, form drawing. I don't want to miss any. Hold on, let me look. Form drawing, painting and drawing, planning, modeling, festivals, writing your own curriculum, which that's an awesome thing to do. Awesome fun. If you want, I wouldn't recommend it the first year, but as you sort of get going in it, you're gonna say, hey, I like Melissa's work, or I like this person's work over here, but I really want to do something my own way. Good night, Charity. Charity's going to bed. We're almost done. Let's see what else. Handwork, and especially if handwork is something that scares you, definitely dive in. We have so many patterns and so many videos. We teach you how to do everything. And we have a lot of moms that are in the group that are really well versed in handwork. So there's something that I can't answer. There's always, I've not had somebody yet ask a question that nobody can answer. We have a whole mom lesson on music. And so if music is something that intimidates you and you are struggling with that piece in your homeschooling, we walk you through it. We teach you how to do that. Let's see, what am I missing? Oh, festivals. We have a mom lesson on festivals. Our Thrive program, which is our parenting and partnering program, that's part of Thinking, Feeling, Willing. In fact, it's not available anywhere else right now, except for in Thinking, Feeling, Willing. And that's a huge program in and of itself. And we're actually running Thrive Live starting in June, I think. Let's see. Circle Time Creation is the mom lesson. And reading, writing, and spelling the Waldorf way is also a mom lesson. Oh, and schooling several children. I don't want to forget that one. And it's okay. Thadra says, I hope I'm saying your name right, honey. Thadra. She says, I can't read music. That's okay. Guess what? We have a program called Music Unfolds that I co-wrote with my co-author, Kimberly Parsons. Awesome lady. She runs she's a music teacher. That's what she does. And so she and I wrote this curriculum together. It's full of story. It's from kindergarten to grades 3, and it takes you from the very beginning all the way through each step, all of it. And so that is also part of Thinking, Feeling, Willing. For those of you who just joined, it's under the curriculum section. So you can go there and see it. Let's see what else here. Oh, we have coloring with block crayons. If you love block crayon drawing and you're trying to figure out how in the heck that works, we are partnered with Teach Wonderment, who is the author of Coloring with Block Crayons, and all of her streaming videos are there. So there's that. And let's see what else. Our Super Sam stories are there. So kindergarten through all the grades. So that's the number one question I get is is what is the curriculum included? Absolutely. And our kindergarten is 2 full years. So it's 52 weeks apiece. And of course you could shorten that up, but it gives you something for every month for the 5-year-old and for the 6-year-old. And then you start grade 1 at 7. So our 1st grade through 5th grade is absolutely complete, includes math. 6th grade, you'll need a math resource, but we have somebody that we recommend. In fact, he's going to teach a masterclass for our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members in November. Super excited for that. We have asked teachers to come and teach, like master teachers, to come and teach our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members, and we have gotten great response. So we have Siglinda that's coming, and that wrote Coloring with Block Crayons. She's going to come and talk about storytelling because she also has some amazing storytelling abilities. Amazing storytelling abilities. We have, let's see, I'm missing people. Carrie over at Parenting Passageway, she's coming. Jody Messler, that's from Home Music Making, she's coming. I'm going to hopefully get Kimberly Parsons to come too, talk to us about singing. All of these people are great friends of mine who I love dearly, and they're very talented. Roberto Trostley, he wrote Rhythms of Learning. He also wrote Physics is Fun, and he has some new physics books out for the middle school. He's joining us as well, probably July or August. I've asked many other people, and as they respond, I will let y'all know who they are. So if you are a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, under that lesson, the masterclass lesson, watch for a calendar, and we'll put the calendar there probably tomorrow. And as people give us their dates, we'll start populating that. And those trainings, I'm telling you, those trainings, I want you to plan in advance for. Get a sitter, go somewhere else, ask Dad to take the time, really and truly take the time, because those teachers are coming to show up for you guys. And I'm super excited at that opportunity. Okay, what else? I don't want to miss anything. I said Planning for Peace was included. Our other books are included. 108 Days is included, which is our inner work book. We also, in Mom Lesson 3, there's like 45 hours plus of inner work audios from when we did our Beacon program a few years ago. Actually, a lot of years ago. Several years ago. Sorry, I was about to be 8. She wasn't even thought of, and so 10 years ago probably. We have our Gnome's Yuletide Mystery book is part of it. There's pretty much not anything that's not part of this program. There's a few things here and there, but honestly, it's not, like for instance, somebody asked me the other day, what would an instance be where it wouldn't be included in the program? So we also teach co-op leaders how to run a Waldorf co-op. And we had a training a while back that was about that. And so while the materials they were able to have, I gave, Thinking, Feeling, Willing members had that. If you wanted to come to the class, then you had to pay to come to the live class. But that doesn't happen very often. Generally, everything is included. When it's not, it's usually something that's like without the scope of, it's something that not everybody is going to need. So we try to, when it's something that everybody needs, we try to make sure it's included. I give ongoing training all year long. We're continually adding to the program and adding value and listening to what you need. Listening to what things you need and what you're looking for, and we make sure that we do our best to provide that. Because that's what we're here for. So I'm thinking that's everything. Oh, it includes, it's not everything. So I said it included all the grades curriculum. When you get to middle school, things change a little bit. So it's not a full curriculum. It's a guide. And what I generally do with the middle school and high school families is we have a lot of planning sessions over the summer where I dive deep with them. And they're always welcome to send me their lesson plans and bounce ideas off me, because children from about 13 on up, they're much, much, much different than they are when they're in the younger set. So as you start to see those changes, you're going to want to tailor something much more toward them. And while the main lesson blocks will be the same, the depth of their learning often develops as, it develops as they go. So that's why those are a little bit different. Let's see, what else does it include? It includes our geometry, includes our math, and personalized help. Yeah, I think I got everything. You get coaching from me. I have office hours once a week on Fridays, and the time sort of shifts so we can get everybody's time zone in eventually. So if you have things that you need, then you get me face-to-face on Fridays. You can hop into office hours. You don't have to stay there. You can just say, if you're having parenting struggles or even partner struggles and you want to hop in and get my thoughts on something for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're there. So there's that. And what else? We have the monthly master classes that are coming up. Have extra training. You can always grab me. Oh, we also have a brand spanking new that people are loving support group that is not on Facebook. So if you've been trying to cut Facebook out of your life, this is a great way to do it. So it is part of our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program. And it's beautiful because it's like, it looks kind of like Facebook without the ads and all the other stuff and all the binging, bonging and everything that happens. It's just the feed. And it's just for our group. So nobody else has access to that. And so it becomes very much a place that's a community where we can all be there. So let's see. Ophelia says, I worry I'm missing something and I am less organized when I am doing it on my own. Well, I'm always here to help you, my dear. That's what I do. Oh, she said that in response to, that's where I have trouble is when I try to make the lesson plans on my own. Well, the great thing is if you decide that that's something you do want to do, we have support for it in there. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I do want to say that, so the cart for Thinking, Feeling, Willing is open right now. It will be open until next Thursday night. And then it will be closed again until the end of the summer. Do not wait. Do not wait. Just do what you can to get into the program. The program is amazing. There are some payment plan options if you are struggling with the full amount. I totally get that. But hop over there. It's at thinkingfeelingwilling.com. And I'll make sure that we put it in the show notes for both videos. It's also, you've probably seen our ads. If you're watching this, you've probably seen our ads. And if you have questions, I'm even happy to, hop on the phone and talk to you about that. Ophelia says, I'm not sure which planner to order. I have 3 in grades and a kinder next year. Let's talk about that, Penny. Well, let's talk about that after. 3 in grades and a kinder next year. So you probably need the big one, the plus one, and the kindergarten one. Maybe. Nope. I lied to you. The mixed ages one and the big one, because that will give you 3 grades and 1 in kindergarten. So if there's any other questions, I want you to feel free to drop me a PM or a DM if you're here on Instagram. And like I said, the cart's open until next Thursday. People say, why do you close the cart? Why do you keep it open all the time? Here's the reason. I spend a lot of time with new members. And I want to spend that time really getting to know them all at once. And it's such a better use of my time and your time when we're together in a group and you've got kind of like a whole class that's going through it together. So we'll have we'll have a space in the community for the people that are coming in right now. This is the spring 2019 Thinking, Feeling, Willing class. So now's the time to join. Don't wait. I've had a couple people say, can I set this up with my charter school? Absolutely. Just message me. Happy to help. And yeah, I'm glad you guys joined us tonight. And please share with your friends. If you're already Thinking, Feeling, Willing member and you think it's amazing, please share with your friends. This is an amazing program. And we have some big time goals this time. We would love to bless 100 families with this program this time. And when I mean bless, I mean bless. I know we have saved marriages. I know we've helped moms pull themselves back from the edge. I know that we have affected lives in how to homeschool their kids. And not just that, but like I said, marriages and their parenting as well. I know this work is amazing work. And that's not from a conceited place. That's from a place of I feel so blessed that it comes through me and I'm able to give it, because it is definitely not from me. It is definitely through me. So please, please, please share this with other people. I think that the more people that can have this blessing in their home, the better. So I think that's it. I think it's 7:30. Y'all, I think I'm gonna go to bed. I hope you guys have a great night. And I will be here working tomorrow, so please feel free to drop me a note. For those of you who are celebrating Easter this weekend and have been through Passover, happy holiday to you, and happy Earth Day on Monday. I sort of said Soraya today because it's Good Friday. Happy Good Friday today to everybody who's celebrating. I said, you were born on Good Friday? She's like, no, I was born on Monday. So we had this whole talk about how the calendar changes. The calendar changes, and even though you were born on Good Friday 8 years ago, yeah. So she's like, so today should be my birthday. No. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you later. We're going to do some more trainings next week, some more lives, probably Tuesday or Wednesday for sure, as we're getting ready for the cart to close. If you are on the edge tonight and you're trying to figure out, hey, do I want to do this? We still have our, if you join today by midnight tonight Pacific time, you get $50 in free Waldorf homeschool supplies. So hop on over. It's a great deal. See you guys later. Bye.